minimizing charisma, maximizing intelligence, shooting someone in the crotch with a cannonball, thrust, propulsion. It's science-y.
Why you always gotta be blowing my spot up like that? There are my runes. There they are. I'm not mad. Science needs art and art needs science. They both need each other to function properly.
There are ways to figure out what the paper is really saying.
And then I'm ready to get on Twitter and yell at people about doing their own research on...
Oh, hold on there, sports fan.
Kyle Hill, everybody! He's the next generation of science communicator. I'm going to be too old at a certain point to do those terrible things to my body, and it'll be up to you.
He's got like a lion's mane. This guy's amazing. Kyle Hill.
I'm Boo Rambo.
The universe is indifferent to you. Whether or not you have amazing hair, the universe doesn't care.
How are trees pushing past this pressure limit? Behold, my balls. Now we're getting somewhere, but I still don't think it's worthy of G.R.R. Martin's suspender.
I'm totally right? Post up photos of my frickin' hair? Is that what you all want? No, you don't, weirdos.
Kyle Hill. Is your last name actually Hemsworth? What's going on?
Our resident Thor lookalike.
I prefer Black Friday Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, you know, if you need a haircut...
No, of course not! We're not gonna send sharks with frickin' laser beams on their heads to an asteroid. We're gonna nuke. You don't need Bruce Willis at all. Wrenched. Oh! Headshot! Oh! Kevin, turn on the monitor. Kevin, this transition better work. The blast doors can't. Kevin, turn it on. Kevin. Kevin, call his agent and have them call my agent.
Kyle Hill, happy birthday. Feliz Navidad.
I'm just a biologist. I don't know how this works. This is how you do science. Can I just grab it? Oh. Laws, corollaries. Bye-bye.
I know that global catastrophe isn't the most fun thing to think about all day unless you're me, so...
Are we gonna do some science, bro?
Lasers don't have that much momentum.
That's not how clockwise works.
Don't worry, you can do this even if you are not an AI.
Completes the boundary layer around a person through a dynamic. And I guess it matters what kind of dragon we're talking. To realize here is that the bigger the thing does.
If this kite is completely inaccurate, I'm gonna kill this guy and tell him to his face. You're wrong about physics. Not enough lift force. Oh.
Nuclear metal donut thing with magnetically confined star-like plasma. The radiation flux in here alone is enough to cause instant death.
That's really funny. I like that idea.
Hey, look at me. I'm a streamer. I have a bedroom. We know anything with a decapitation hazard deserves to, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that's good. That's fine.
Put it on PBS. I dare you. No, I mean, I had absolutely no idea that talking about bees and what bees are now would be considered. No, I know some people are in the comments already, and some people are live chatting already. It's talking about like weird definitions of. It's almost like you can. I know. Yes, of course they're evolved to fly, or else they wouldn't fly. What? Oh yeah. Do you still have your unlimited breadsticks special or whatever it is? Hello, and welcome to Office Hours, a live component of the facility where good old Professor Kyle opens up his vault doors and allows you, all members of the general public, my security team, Jabo, Heather, my lovely staff, everyone who is a member of the facility, to come in for the next hour or so and live, laugh, learn, just like you'd put it up on a wall. And probably there's a mom who drinks wine there. But as we go through that, we'll be taking all of your comments, questions, and corrections, and be talking about some science news throughout the week, specifically that bees in California are now legally classified as fish. And it's not for the weird reasons that some of you in chat are putting, just because you like to be, edgy, like the world's richest man. But if you want to continue on this conversation after... I'm outside because there's plants and stuff that need to be pollinated. If you want to continue on this conversation after we are live, go back onto the main channel, leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff that people more popular than me tend to say. Or you can join the facility by going to patreon.com/Kyle Hill to join the facility today. Get episodes early, chat with me every day on our private Discord, see private live streams of me shaking my hair around. And of course, if you really, really, really want me to see something, you can try Super Chat if you're here live. I cannot promise that I will get to every Super Chat, but I'll do my very best. And if I don't get to it, know that it goes towards funding food for Lola there, my kaiju. As an example, Yuri Gressel says, so is it a hive of bees or a school of bees? Yes. Elizabeth Calvert with the 20 says, my tiny human Alex's question of the week, how does lightning make thunder? Is it because lightning is electricity? Also, Minecraft just updated. Woohoo! And I want everyone to know about it. Tiny Human Alex, Karl Johnson, I'll answer your question in a second. Tiny Human Alex, I hope school is going well. I know your mom said that it's going okay for you right now. I hope you're enjoying the new Minecraft update, little man. Thunder is the sound that lightning makes. Now, think of popping a balloon, little man. Now, what happens when you pop a balloon? You have air in a balloon, and when you pop that balloon, air moves out. And when air moves around, it can create a kind of a vibration, a wave. And that wave will come and touch your ears, and your ears will call that sound. Now, when a lightning bolt goes through the air, ka-chow, the same thing happens. The lightning is super, super hot, Alex. And when things get hot, they get bigger, they expand. And so a lightning bolt, like the electricity you see above me, timed it perfectly. When air gets hot, it moves out of the way, or it expands quickly. This creates the same kind of wave that touches your ears that popping a balloon does. Except in lightning's case, there's a lot of air moving very quickly, and so it sounds like shakabow. Violence, speed, momentum, yeah. Let's, come here, get a little bit closer to me, huh? Two things that I forgot already. Before we get to bees, we'll get to bees. But as you could tell from my amazingly crafted interstitial by one of my Kevins, right after this stream, we're doing another twofer doubleheader. We're going right over to the gaming channel, and we're going to be starting, by popular demand, our Scientist Plays playthrough of Fallout New Vegas. Classic game. I've played through it a couple times. Fan favorite. And there's surely a lot of science that we can learn in it. I assure you, I surely do. So right after this, it's in an hour and a half, we'll be jumping over there. So if you want to see that, let's do that. What a treat today is, says Ariana Gardner. That brings me to my second thing. Chat. Now, I know a lot of you don't care for when I talk about my hair. But also, I have some news. I have discovered the perfect method for the perfect second day hair look. Now, ladies, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, second day hair is best hair. Look it up. Now, I don't want to freak you out, but clearly, I have solved second day hair. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the texture. Look at the volume. Look at that. Look at the color. I've solved 2-day hair. I wake up like this. It's incredible. We have a $199 donation from Hunter Walker, who says nothing. Why? Because Hunter Walker, with a name like that, all he needs to do is walk his way into any situation, and he's cool. As the kids say, he's based. Or they are based. Or she is based. The best answer to 2-day hair is to not have hair. I disagree. And we have Matterbeam all the way from another continent from me. with the 5 says, it's about the doors versus wheels video that you just did. What would you consider mechanically gated channels and cell membranes? MB, original, super nerd. We will get to that. Let's have a hair off. Weird flex, but okay. Francis Chin, it's my whole thing. And do you know what else is my whole thing? Talking about bugs. Judgment 84 says, what products do you use in your hair? This is all privileged information that you can only get by joining the facility. Elon Muskrat, nice, says, hey Kyle, I broke my wrist recently after falling off my bike, but your videos make me feel much better. Keep up the amazing content. Elon Muskrat, rest up and keep making them memes. Maria Daniela Gutierrez Garcia says, what did I miss? I don't know if you sound like that, but nothing. We're starting to talk about bees. Now, recently, chat, in California, bees have been classified as fish. And no, Elijah Boriquez says, thanks for confirming. I've enjoyed your work. Elijah, get in here. And it's not for any weird reason that some of you put in the chat at the beginning of the stream and then dropped out because you weren't actually interested in anything I had to say. You just wanted to say something memey. No. Bees were reclassified as fish for 2 very specific reasons. Now, this part of the story is a short one, but what I want to get to at the end of it, by the end of it, is something that I learned. Something about bees that apparently I've had a misconception about, and I believe most of you have had a misconception about. Kevin Morgan says, bald or bees? Well, I mean, these little fluffy boys, they're obvious. The bumblebee is my equivalent. How could bees relate to fish at all? So, lawmakers in California looking to conserve bee populations and protect bees like other endangered species, they looked at a law from 1970, which explicitly was able to put fish on the endangered species list. But one thing they really, I'm eating bees for Lent right now, says Fraught with Dagger. You all are, the internet was a mistake. Anyway. Oh, because they're fit. I get it. You're still weird. So, something funny happened with this 1970 law. And it's that they classified fish as invertebrates. So invertebrates are any animal without a spine. No, I'm not talking about Ted Cruz. I'm talking about insects and burn! Anything without a spine. Insects, arthropods, crabby boys, that kind of thing. But fish have spines, Kyle. I know. They got this wrong. And so by using the legal definition that fish are invertebrates, ipso facto, bumblebees are also without spine, much like Ted Cruz. And being without spine, they could be legally protected in the same way that other vertebrates, i.e. fish, concordantly, consequently, ergo, bees are fish, fish are bees, both are protected. Curtis Crowley says, the joke's even better a second time. I'm not making a political joke. He just seems like kind of a, you know, Dorcas Malorcas. So that's why they've been classified as fish, not for any weird scientists just make anything up, don't they, Kyle? No, they don't. I mean, sometimes, yes, they name new Beatles after Taylor Swift because they wanted to get on her radar a little bit. Yes, that happened. but not for any weird reason. Okay, second day hair. Don't even care. Now, the next thing I want to bring up for this, though, Nope says, I'm a biologist. No, bees are not fish, period. Tell that to the judge, biologist man. I know that. Now, what I want to get to in bringing this up is something that apparently we all have a misconception about. Or most of us. I do. So, a couple of years ago, when I was still in high squala, did you ever hear, Chad, did you ever hear of colony collapse disorder? Back around 2006, 2008? 2006, 2008, it appeared from media coverage that bee populations in the United States, at least, were collapsing, where they would find, this feels like a school project, says Steven. Yeah, and I'm getting an A+, baby. Apiarists would go out to their little bee farms, and they'd look inside, and they would find the entire colony gone, and just the queen left over. There was claims of colony collapses of like 90% of the population of these bees. Mites were a big part of it, says Unlocked. We'll get there. More like B-, says Adam Weatherthal. LOL. I'll give you that one. That one was pretty good. Now, from this media coverage and from the impression, it seemed, and still seemed to me until yesterday when I was looking at this, that my general impression, if you asked me, dude on the street, which I won't be, I'm always underground, or above ground, you don't know. My impression was that bees were still in serious trouble. That bee colonies, specifically in apiaries, which what you call whatever this assortment is, although I'd like to call any assortment of humans like an apiary, Anyway. So I was under the impression that bees were in serious trouble. We're not going to be able to pollinate enough stuff. We're running out of bees. This appears to have been a grand myth. And I don't want to sound too conspiratorial here, but it does seem like there was an effort around the stories of CCD, colony collapse disorder, to point fingers at very specific things that we didn't actually have good evidence for. At least this is now my new interpretation of when I never looked at the studies. I didn't feel like I needed to. It seemed like the consensus was very clear. People are saying, yeah, I definitely thought the bees were in trouble, agricultural pesticides, a conspira bee, you might say. Nice. Now, I said that in like 2006, 2008, this is when we started hearing about this major problem with CCD, right? But the fact of the matter is, which might be the most damning statistic for images like this, is that as of 2017, honeybee colonies are at their highest level in more than 23 years. Which, of course, that means the rising populations of honeybee colonies that predates this bee-apocalypse. Right? So right off the bat, the data does not support the claim that bees are plunging in population size over time. Okay. Now the other thing that I don't have the picture here, but one of my first, I wonder if I can, I don't want to show you my phone, but one of my first gigs ever, I'm just thinking of this now, as a science communicator on television, I did a story for Al Jazeera America back when it was trying to do stuff. And I might have a photo of myself from that time. And what I did is I went to one of these bee farms. And I interviewed a guy about colony collapse disorder. And he said it was a huge problem. And he pointed the finger. I don't have it. I don't have it here. But I used to look like this. What happened, right? And he pointed the finger at pesticides and a specific kind of pesticide called neonicotinoids, or neonics for short. And this became another one of the narratives, that neonicotinoid use spread throughout the United States was leading to... I know what happened. I know. Trust me, I know. I don't want to think about it. But widespread use of this new pesticide was linked to CCD. And yet again, it turns out when you look at these studies, which I didn't feel the need to at the time, all the studies that were claiming neonics were the source of CCD, or at least a major factor, none of them were in the field. So we're in a laboratory setting where scientists, though well-intentioned, are overdosing bees on pesticides. They don't have an actual grasp of what the actual dose level is in the field, like here. And so what any scientist would do would probably pick a couple different dose rates and dose different bees at those rates, even if they don't track with what's in the field. And again, it turns out that the level of ambient insecticide, especially when they're treated just to the seeds of plants, which they are now sometimes, that dose rate is much lower than in the studies where it showed serious side effects. And now, today, we have studies in the field showing that because a bee colony is a kind of superorganism, a superorganism that can shore up and protect itself as a large body of individuals by taking certain actions or not. Some bees can be minorly affected, other bees can assume their duties, so to speak. It seems like, as a whole, these neonicotinoid pesticides, mouthful, have no observable health effects, at least in terms of causing widespread colony collapse. Now, this is going against our, or my belief at least, that the bees were in trouble, but in fact, widespread pesticide use has not done what our impression was, and bee populations around the country are rising. Now, why could the bee... And what's going on with bee populations isn't always great, of course. They still face hardships, but they're not about to disappear. But they still face hardships. One of those hardships is wild bees have a lot of trouble competing with bee farms because these just go and they just suck up all the resources. Also, these bees can get diseases from other wild bees that they're not inoculated against because they're basically cared for in these apiaries and not exposed to as many natural pressures as they otherwise would be. It's like keeping your kid inside for the first 10 years of their life. Then they go outside and then they touch a branch, boom, dysentery. I know that's not how you get that. The other thing is that in the United States, at least, every year, and I didn't know this, like almost 90%, it's like 50 to 90%, I can't remember off the top of my head, but a majority of bees in the United States are packed up, put on trucks, and moved to California to pollinate the almonds. And that's extremely stressful for a superorganism, for a colony of bees to continue functioning effectively. They have to be more or less anesthetized and then transported many, many, many hours across interstate highways. I've seen those trucks. It's a hell of a thing. And in doing that, in transporting different populations around the country, you can also spread disease. And what else can you spread? These! These are called Varroa destructor mites. Varroa destructor. And these are little dudes that look like the Pokemon Parasite from Gen 1, or Paris. And these little guys are parasites that latch themselves onto the sides of bees, and they can cause serious health effects or kill the bee. And they kill... This is the number one problem for bee colonies. These little guys right here. Maybe science communicators shouldn't propagate new narratives, says Raptor Zesty. The myth of CCD, in the context of what I've been saying, is something that's been widely reported on since 2017, 2016, and something that's only coming to my attention. So it's not a brand new narrative. I'm not trying to mislead you, and I don't think I am. So it's not a new narrative. But these are the real bee killers. Christolvs with the 5 says, okay, so if CCD may not be real, or as real as we thought, are super murder hornets real? Are we on the cusp of bee people going to war with the crabs? Murder hornets are still real, but I don't think they're, as far as I know, and as you can tell, I don't know very much, but as far as I know, they're not rapidly colonizing any large amount of land. Last thing I heard, I think we covered on this show, that they had found a nest or two up in Washington. So, not great, but, you know, not horrible either. So yeah. So these are the main health problem. It doesn't seem to be a mysterious collapsing of most colonies in the United States. It doesn't seem to be, at least at this stage, neonicotinoids or other pesticides. And that's something... Hair almost as good as Kyle's? How dare you? Yeah, you're right. Damn. The density. Just how many follicles per square centimeter this little chonky boy has. Just sipping on Hemalith all day. Pfft, come on. Anyway, I wanted to bring this story up because I thought it was something that we can learn from. That maybe instead of buying into the hype or not, we should really look at and read the studies ourselves, which is something that I should have done. I know, I was a journalist. I was young. Leave me alone. As you can see from that amazing transition, in about an hour, we'll be hopping over to the Kyle Hill Gaming channel, and we'll be beginning our journey through Fallout New Vegas. What are we doing? We're minimizing charisma. We're maximizing intelligence. We're going for energy weapons. We're going to be a science boy, and we are going to... I know the first thing that we're going to do, and the first thing we're going to talk about, and it has to do with big old bugs. What keyboard do you use for gaming? Says Aleek, which is Kyle backwards, 864. I use a Rocket Burst. My mouse is a Rocket Burst Pro, and then I have the Rocket Vulcan. But I don't PC game unless it's on stream. I've always been a console boy, so I play on the PS5 or the PS6 if I'm here in the command zone. You know, Kevin Morgan says, you know, I'm a bit of a scientist myself. Ravdo says, double dose of Kyle in a day. Can YouTube handle that? Oh, just wait until we do the gaming stream and it gets 2,000 views. Yeah. I know. We might as well be Mr. Beast. We're growing the channel. I don't care. He noticed a leak is Kyle backwards. That's because it's something I used to do. I think one of my... I had a username at one point called Aleek Climbs or something like that. I think that was a password for my... Don't say that out loud. The Reichenek. Welcome back, brother. $10. I have no real question, just simping for science. Oh, I've missed a lot. Glad to see the Chernobyl stuff. It's coming back out. You should stream the Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal's on the list. It's just not the most exciting thing to watch. With the scientist plays stuff, I want to do some of the classic sci-fi games that I love first. Or new sci-fi games that I like. Just so that we can play, live, laugh, and learn. So we've done Fallout, Half-Life, BioShock, something else. Tarkov, jeez. Love Kyle, hey the show, says Karel Kropskoff. Also, if you are a Magic the Gathering boy or bae, and you will be in the Las Vegas area this weekend, I will be playing Magic the Gathering with you nerds all weekend. Will you let us win? No. I pull no punches. I take no hostages. I play to win. Wait, you play Tarkov? I've put about 100 hours into Tarkov. I'm not very good at it. Max Lawrence says, I saw your video with the professor about explaining lightning. Yeah, that was painful to watch, wasn't it? Will you ever play on the gaming channel of his? Guess what else we filmed that day? Yes. Caitlin Kriv with the 999. Haven't caught a live stream in ages. Had to switch from your gaming channel to make it here. Love both channels. Love the added science education on your gaming streams. Caitlin, that's what it's all about. Should also note that as longtime stream viewers know, since I am working on being Chris Hemsworth's hair double right now, I am also working on my Australian accent. So any Australians in the chat donating Australian monies will have their chat message read out in my perfect Australian accent. LA Noir would be a good one. Hello there, Robin, Dan, the metal fan with a Canadian $10. I have close to 4,000 hours in Tarkov. Woo! I can see how that's certainly possible. Something else that I wanted to bring up, chat. Let's talk about another quick news story, huh? Ring-a-ding-ding. Another quick news story. I don't have graphics for it right now. Thanks, Kevin! But, you may have heard about a recent cancer trial that reportedly put every single participant's cancer into remission. And after a year or two, none of the cancer came back. And what reports were saying is that this has never been before seen in cancer research. So it is quite amazing that something like that has happened. But just want to point out a little caveat here, which they do in articles, or some of the better articles, is that the most important thing I learned about cancer is that it's not a singular disease. It presents in a similar way in that it's a uncontrolled division of your body's cells, which eventually becomes so large and takes up so many resources that your body can't handle it. But depending on where it is, it can operate substantially differently, and cancer is like an evolutionary monster. What drives evolution is reproduction, is the division of cells, etc. Every time that happens, DNA gets shuffled up. And every time that happens, there is room for mutation. These random mutations over evolutionary time are selected for or not. That's how evolution works. But the more time something divides, the more opportunities there are for something to go wrong. That's why cancer now is a leading cause of death, because people are getting older. The longer you live, the more opportunities there are for division to go wrong. It's a disease of the old. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's not. But on average, it is. Older people tend to get it more than younger people. Now, I say that to say, like, if you took a tumor and you sliced one side, biopsied one side of it, and biopsied the other side of it, the DNA in those cells on each side of it might be different. And so that's a really difficult disease to fight. We're never going to, quote-unquote, cure cancer with one thing. That's because cancer is not one thing. It can be evolutionarily and genetically substantially different even in one person's body. And so for this news story specifically, it was rectal cancer presenting in a certain way. I forget the name of the specific kind of mismatch repair deficient rectal cancer. So for this trial, it did something amazing, put them all into remission. That's incredible. All the participants said they all had happy tears. Science can change lives and make everything better. Make people's lives better, reduce suffering. But cancer is so insidiously complicated that right now, this is something that's only going to work for this one thing. And it's not going to be generalizable. That will take more study and science. Game over Jesse with a check mark, because Jesse's important. We know that. You can ask anyone who ever lived a single question and they answer with 100% truth. What do you ask? I can ask anyone who's ever lived one question and they have to tell me the truth. No, I had a dumb example. There's a lot of things. I don't know why my head's going to this, but there's a lot of places. There's a couple of industries that rely directly on lying to people or deceiving people and causing people a lot of harm in that way. So I would like to, in the heyday of psychics and mediums and stuff, I would have liked to ask the most popular one live, recorded. It's like, you're faking this, right? Like, yes. You're taking money from people who just want to remember their loved ones, right? Yeah, of course I am. Chloe Garner with a $50 donation. Chloe comes in, doesn't say a word. That's because they have great hair in their avatar. It speaks for them. They don't have to say nothing. Kyle's beard needs braids. Captain Dagan, welcome. Yeah, so in that respect, my head, when you ask me that question, goes to a lot of skeptic-y kind of things. Like, you know, the guy who took the Patterson-Gimli footage of Bigfoot, you just go to him, you're like, it's a guy in a suit, right? He's like, yeah. Yeah, yes, of course it is. That could have saved us a lot of, that could have saved a lot of people a lot of time and effort and interest and money. But I'm sure there's a much more profound question I could ask somebody in human history. But it's hard to be profound in real time. I don't think anyone's profound in real time. Sometimes kids. Epic Demic says, did you cover the bee fish thing yet, or is it clickbait? It's not clickbait, and I did go over it. It's not. It's not. I said nothing in misleading. Shedman with the PLN 50. Don't know what that is. Glad to finally catch a stream. Get in here. Have you ever addressed the Portal A versus Portal B conundrum? If not, can you explain why it's obviously A? Love the show. I've never tackled the portal question of the meme image you are describing, but I think Minute Physics actually did do it. So if you want to check out a thought-out explanation to it, check out Minute Physics. Corgi K says, Kyle wants to be James Randi. Corgi. You want to know something interesting? Do you know what my first science communication gig was? Research associate for their James Randi Educational Foundation. Yeah, that's right. No coincidence, huh? I bet you feel so foolish now. Jordan Casanova with the Australian $5. All right, here we go. Good morning from Australia, Kyle. Have you considered playing Factorio? No. I've seen some gameplay, and it kind of looked overwhelmingly tedious to me. Like there'd be a big learning curve. I mean, I'm not opposed to trying to play the game. I do like managing that kind of stuff from time to time. But doing it live, I don't know if it's the most streamable game in the world. Okay, Jordan B, come on, right? Come on. Almost cursed, says Lance. Shh. You're lucky you got a baby in your avatar, or else I would have had at you. That was pretty good. Come on. How's it both perfect and cringy? You uncultured gamers. Peer review. So as I'm wont to do on every episode of Office Hours, I like to go back through the latest episode of the facility and highlight the accent is actually great. You're dang right it is. Go back through the latest episode of the facility and take your comments, questions, and corrections and highlight one. Make them an honorary member, and then Kevin gives them a plaque. This is all true, not clickbait, whoever said that. Last episode of the facility was Doors versus Wheels. It came out this morning. AJ said, I zoned out for a second. Suddenly Kyle was Australian and I'd started freaking out. Uri says the accent is terrible. That way is the door. Came out this morning. If you haven't checked it out, just click on it. Like, open up a different window and click on it. Momentum in the early part of the algorithm, like early momentum, I think helps a lot. Check it out. Doors versus Wheels. This came from the last Office Hours. Would a mouth count as a door? We'll get to that. Do valves and veins count as doors? Chat. Gabriel Placeholder says, your accent sounds like an accent, not bad, just not native. You know, sounds a little forced. Well, I'm still learning it. I know, I'm putting too much, like, emphasis on the I's and the O's. I know. Should probably just try to, like, dial all of it back a bit. You know? Just have a go and be natural. See, even that was too much. Anyway, I posed the question. That was in the last Office Hours when someone asked me this stupid meme. Are there more doors or wheels in the world? And I, through a little bit of clever finagling, I think I have delivered the definitive answer according to our definitions. Cameron Bennett with the 10. Cameron, whoo! Stephen B. with the 50. Longtime lurker, first-time simper. Just wanted to thank you for sharing your knowledge in a fun, easily digestible way. Looking forward to whatever your future holds. Stephen B., I appreciate that. I'm going, there happens to be a former nuclear test site near Vegas where I'll be going this weekend, and I may or may not be filming something there, maybe, for the next Half-Life History. The Half-Life History coming up should be the next episode on the facility, and it is by far the longest episode of anything I've ever done. Not like a live stream or anything, but like not an interview, but a fully thought out, edited thing. Where I had 23 pages of research, and then when I got done with the essay, it was over 6,500 words, and it took me over an hour to record it just speaking. And yes, A Chemical Life. It is 3 Mile Island. So, 3 Mile Island has been on my list since I started Half-Life Histories, and now since it's in the news because of that Netflix series, which is terrible, I decided now would be the time. So it's probably going to be like 40 minutes plus, and I think it's fairly definitive. It was really difficult to organize because spoiler alert, what happened at 3 Mile Island is one of the most technical meltdowns that happened, as opposed to Fukushima or Chernobyl, where the sequence of events was also well known, but not nearly as not as many things happened in the sequence of events. At 3 Mile Island, we know what happened and what went wrong down to the second, for like hours. And there's a big political aspect of it because, after 3 Mile Island, the protests and all this stuff, and there's a added quality to it where I believe it is what changed the perception of nuclear power in America. And so there's a whole aspect to it that's not science-y. And then you have to get to the claimed health effects and all this stuff. So it's going to be our longest episode ever. I think I just recorded it a couple of days ago. So we'll see how it turns out, but I'm excited. Cameron Bennett again with a 10 says, "Hey Kyle, lead cook at the facility commissary here." Oh, Cameron, thanks. I enjoy your Salisbury steaks. The Kevin you sent to help out got eaten by the garbage disposal. I told him to let it sniff his hands first, but no, he had to give it scritches. Kevin, how much? Yeah, tell on level 5. Tell them to stop scratching it. Yeah, I know it's fuzzy, but it's not. The teeth are there for a reason. It loves bones. It has bones. You ever had? I had bone marrow clam chowder the other day. Oh, don't gift that. Sonic does not. I'm ignoring this. Sonic does not wear pants. How fast would Sonic need to run to poop and have that poop disintegrate to where nobody would know he pooped? Says DJLC Brown with the $5. Okay, moving on. So, doors versus wheels. I thought it was fairly definitive based on our answer, but let's see what you have to say. Giggity Guy, who I think is a super nerd from Because Science, says, "I think everyone's answer would depend heavily on how they define the problem." That applies to everything. If I had to put money down on man-made objects only, though, I think I'd have to go with wheels. There are a lot of mechanical and industrial objects that incorporate thousands of wheels and ball bearings into their designs. Even just a 30-foot conveyor belt could contain hundreds and hundreds of wheels. Wheels are a design that can be miniaturized and repeated over and over and over again and still be useful, while the intended purpose of doors puts a lower limit on their size and repeatability. I think that's a brilliant insight. Here we go. Now, this is what we wanted to get to. Socks of Splenda says, "Are cell membranes a door?" Now, I relied on a definition of wheels to tell you about the only known biological wheel in nature. And because of that, there's so many of them that it's obviously a determining factor. But then at the end of the episode, I said, well, what about cell membranes if you're going to get that small? As we define a door: hinged, sliding, revolving. That's it. From what I can tell microscopically, cell membranes do none of those things. I see animations used for educational purposes that show cell membranes kind of opening like this. But I believe, in actuality, they're channels, like sodium ion channels, that more so do this or this. Thoughts? I'm losing my mind, man. Doorways, just openings, no door at all, are referred to as a kind of door. Well, a doorway is not a door, is it? You just made a fool of yourself. Revolving doors are wheels and doors. Says, but look, I don't want to get I don't want to get... I made a whole episode about this. And you still having questions is the point of the episode. It gets you thinking, it gets you estimating. I don't need to relitigate this with you live. David. You watch Schitt's Creek? It's great. The Joker's BR with the $10. Hi, Kyle. Greetings from Brazil. I'm following since The Void, and your work is amazing. Keep going. Questions. Have you ever played the Metro games? No, those are games. I want to try the Metro games and the Stalker games, which I've never played. Specifically the Stalker games, because I've been to those places physically with my own shoes. What a weird way to put that. And it'd be interesting to see how they do it. But that would be... Metro would be a great game to play on stream, for sure. A door is a temporary covering of a hole in a wall, so a heart valve and a sphincter would both count, so maybe not that. The number of biological wheels on bacteria, as I define them in the episode, are so... Again, this is an order of magnitude thing. Are so numerous, more than the number of stars in the observable universe, okay, that even if all of the heart valves of every creature on Earth, or every sphincter of every creature on Earth, and I can imagine a lot of sphincters, that total is still in the billions or trillions, which is 10 to the 9 or 10 to the 12. I'm talking about a number like 10 to the 30. So not even in the same universe of numbers. This is why I love office hours. Our Ion Channels door says DJ LC Brown. DJ, we just went through this, okay? I'm not going to answer your how fast does Sonic have to run to have his poop disintegrate as he runs so no one knows that he pooped while running, okay? Thank you for $5. I'm not doing it. I think the poop would just break up before it would... Like, I don't think the structural integrity of feces is enough that it could withstand the speeds necessary to compression heat the air to vaporize it. If you're talking about re-entry, when something heats up, like a meteor or an asteroid heats up and disintegrates and turns into plasma, and you're talking like Mach 25. Now, sure, Sonic might be able to run that. I don't care. What I'm saying is that the structural integrity of the spaceship allows it to maintain its form and shape and heat up during that process. Poo is not a spaceship. It's not structurally sound in the same way. And so, I don't think Sonic... I don't think Sonic can ever run fast enough to have his poo come out of his butt at such a speed that it vaporizes and no one knows where he's pooed. Doesn't Sonic only eat gold rings, though? He doesn't eat... Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me right now. You're not going to get any nutritional value from gold. Gold is like biologically inert in that it doesn't react with... It doesn't get taken up. It doesn't react with anything in your body. That's why you can have gold leaf on fancy, stupid food that the Salt Bay makes, and it just passes through your system. It doesn't accumulate, doesn't become toxic or anything like that. So eating rings wouldn't do... Stop it. Everyone stop it. Stop it. Please stop it. What about platinum or palladium? But it looks fancy. Chili cheese dogs. Yeah, Sonic canonically eats chili cheese dogs, you dorks. Save the rage for Fallout New Vegas. I know. Coming up, just about a half an hour, we're going to be jumping if one of my delicious mods, I was going to say, if one of my lovely mods could put the gaming channel in the chat just about a half an hour, we're going to start, by popular demand, our Fallout New Vegas journey. So much vaporization is going to happen, and not of poop. We're going to talk about all the sciencey things. I mean, just the geckos alone. I'm the kind of guy who has a lot to say about geckos. I have no less than 3 things I can talk at length about geckos about. I know. I'm super interesting. If flagella are wheels, wouldn't that also make the gears on a bike technically wheels, says Scooper21? Yeah. But again, the number of wheels ever made for all time from now until the sun blows up will never reach the more than astronomically large number of flagella. Whew. Don't do this to me. Look at my second day hair going on. Like, you're wasting this. Don't waste it. I don't even know what I'm talking. Matthew Sparks says, I simped twice for Kyle and Kyle didn't read either one of them. Matthew Sparks with the $5. What is poop, if not just a spaceship for digested food? Why didn't Kyle read my donation? You know why. Is that a mason jar or a beaker? This is, I did an ad for Cometeer back in the, what episode was that? I forget. But this is a Thermos cup. It's an insulated cup. So you can see the boundary between the liquid and the glass here. And that just works as a normal insulation mechanism, just like your thermos. And inside of that volume there, it's totally evacuated of air, or it's under vacuum, it's negatively pressured such that there's not a lot of air in there. And by having not air in there, heat transfer is very, very low. There's not stuff to knock into other stuff. It's a void. It's empty. And that's why heat transfer with this kind of design is super good. The single best thermos I've ever had, easily, Yeti. This thing, it's also double-walled, evacuated on the inside. This thing, if I have it just closed and full of ice cubes, which it is right now, those ice cubes will stay there for 24 hours. Today I learned how a thermos works. Yes, a thermos, you know that it's very hard to lose heat in space. That's why spaceships like the International Space Station have radiators to provide more surface area. But it's hard to lose heat in space because the only way space heat can leave is through the least efficient form of energy transfer for heat, which is just radiation. Like the photons hitting my face or hitting your eyes right now. The infrared photons. Nothing is touching things in space because there's no air, and no fluid is moving against it. There's no convection in space. So it's very hard to lose heat. Similarly, if you have a double wall design thermos, you take a vacuum pump, you take out all of the air, and then you seal it real quick at the same time. A thermos works the same way that space does. And that's why I buy Yeti. Like 24-hour ice cubes. It's incredible. Where you're like, you'll fill it up, and you'll come back to wherever you put it, and you're like, oh, man, nice cold drink of water. Oh! It's great. It's great. Got it. Toss a coin to your science communicator. Oh, chat of plenty. Indeed. Stephen B. Already read that. Lin Yenchin. At least upon emerging from his body, Sonic's poop is protected by the Nope. Common Astartes with the 199. I hope everyone is having an above average Tuesday. Me too. That average will come back down. You'll have bad Tuesdays and good Tuesdays. What I try to do is live within the golden mean, the middle way. Everyone has ups and downs in their lives. try to raise the average. You know? So you can have ups and downs, but your average is here. I want to have averages up here. You know what I mean? Where the good is good. The better is better. But the bad's not as bad. Because we're going up in the y-axis direction of the little sinusoidal thing that I just... You guys kind of melted my brain. We have about another 5 minutes or so. If there's anything that you want to get to me right now that isn't Sonic related before we hop over to the gaming stream, let me know. Today we talked about the reclassification of bees for conservation purposes and also why colony collapse disorder kind of was a myth, which I didn't know. We talked about a new cancer study briefly, which was interesting, and then we did something else. What about the z-axis of life, says Blard Flip. The z-axis of life is time. So you move through space and time at the same time. So you can imagine, if you want to, this is what we do with world lines and light cones. If you want to imagine, you suppress one spatial dimension and then you make your position in the universe at any one time an XYZ coordinate. 1, 1, 1. Or 0, 0, 0 if you're at the origin. You know, buying Mass Effect. And then that doesn't fully describe your position because if you're moving, the next second, you're here instead of here. And so you need one more coordinate, and that is time. That is why space is 4-dimensional. Man, I'm throwing out amazing things for you right now. Just imagine what I'm going to say about geckos when we jump over to the gaming channel. First stream I'm catching live, Kyle is the best, says Diego Navarro. Well, you're catching it at the tail end. Go back, join the facility, or rewind, baby. I should say, too, we're finally putting out a lot of the Scientist Play streams that I have recorded, but didn't go up on YouTube. So tomorrow morning, you'll see another hour, 40 minutes or so of a Bioshock playthrough. In addition to Fallout New Vegas, you're welcome. That's what I'm getting at. Grant T with a 5 says, do game VODs make their way to YouTube for us over here, secondary channel or otherwise? I feel like man, what am I, psychic? No, that's impossible. Grant, once we jump over to Fallout New Vegas for about 2 hours, that entire stream will live on the gaming channel in perpetuity. Lynn with another 5, thank you. But you deleted your message. I hope that message was about Sonic. Where's the gaming channel? Says Curtis. Who knows? Who could say? Who could say if it was here? Mike to the second power. That's Mike. Mike times Mike. My boss said something that changed my life. Quote, perfect is the enemy of the good. It's better to aim for good. I have a post-it note right here at the facility that says, be ready to be great. So chat, as you join me in the gaming channel, half an hour from now, I want you to be ready to be great. Coming up at the facility is going to be our longest episode ever on 3 Mile Island. We talked about bees, we talked about cancer, we talked about Sonic's poop incinerating itself. This is the kind of thing you can expect here at the facility. If you want to join us as we discuss that kind of thing, go to patreon.com/Kyle Hill. Join the facility today. The main benefit is episodes early and joining our private Discord where you can get nerdy with what I'm told is one of the nicest Discord servers anyone has ever been on. Join us there, and in a half an hour, join me on the gaming channel. We're going to science the crap out of one of y'all's favorite games. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, no matter where I see you next. Until then, I want you to be nice to each other, of course, because this is all we got. And finally, I'm testing out a new catchphrase. And finally, remember, we are science, and so can you.